Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Alpha Omega's V Foundation Virtual Tasting Experience. My name is Barrett Spiegel, and I'm the virtual ambassador here with Alpha Omega, and I will be your moderator for our virtual tasting today. Before we get rocking and rolling, I would like to ask that you all keep your microphones on mute throughout the duration of our tasting today. We are going to communicate with you. We do want this to be interactive. You can submit all of your questions and your comments about the wines, about our food demonstration today in the chat box at the bottom of your Zoom meeting window. Also, if you're tuning in on Facebook Live, submit some questions and comments to the Facebook Live screen, and we'd love to answer them. We want this to be an open dialogue, and we want to interact with you all. We're so grateful to have you guys join in for this special virtual tasting. We're here to raise some money for cancer research. We've partnered with the V Foundation, a very special cause, a very special foundation for Alpha Omega. 25% of the proceeds of your virtual tasting package and any additional wine sales are going to be donated to the V Foundation to support cancer research. So it's time to enjoy some great wine. It's time to raise some money for cancer research. So thank you all for being here today. We've put together an incredible cast and crew to support this virtual tasting, and we've got some special guests from the V Foundation that are going to chime in a little bit. But I want to introduce you all to our Alpha Omega winemaker, Henrik Poulsen, Alpha Omega Master Sommelier, Bob Bath, the 2011 Vintner Grant honorees for the V Foundation, Alpha Omega Vintners, Robin and Michelle Baggett. Lastly, but not leastly, one of the best chefs in Napa Valley is joining us today. Chef Nash of Tre Vigne and Tre Posti is here with us, and he's got an amazing demonstration that we're going to do today. Chef Nash, what are we doing today? What are we going to offer these wonderful people?
We are going to show everybody how to grill pizza at home and make fantastic grilled pizzas.
Yeah, right on. Some amazing wine, a great food demonstration coming up. Some special guests are going to pop in. We're happy to have you all with us today. Before we get started with our first wine, we've got a quick 2-minute short inspirational clip that the V Foundation has put together to get us inspired for this wonderful cause.
To me, there are 3 things we all should do every day. If we do this every day of our life, you're going to have, what a wonderful, number 1 is laugh. You should laugh every day. Number 2 is think. You should spend some time in thought. And number 3 is you should have your emotions moved to tears. Could be happiness or joy. But think about it. If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day. That's a heck of a day. You do that 7 days a week, you're going to have something special. I remember where I came from. It's so important to know where you are. And I know where I am right now. How do you go from where you are to where you want to be? And I think you have to have an enthusiasm for life. You have to have a dream, a goal, and you have to be willing to work for it. I talked about my family. My family is so important. People think I have courage. The courage of my family is my wife, Pam, my 3 daughters here, Nicole, Jamie, Leanne, my mom, who is right here too, and that screen is flashing up there 30 seconds like I care about that screen right now, huh? I got tumors all over my body. I'm worried about some guy in the back going 30 seconds, huh? You got a lot. Hey, phenomenal, buddy. You got a lot. One last thing. I urge all of you, to enjoy your life, the precious moments you have, to spend each day with some laughter and some thought, to get your emotions going, to be enthusiastic every day. And Ralph Waldo Emerson said nothing great can be accomplished without enthusiasm, to keep your dreams alive in spite of problems, whatever you have, to be able to work hard for your dreams to come true, become a reality. Now I look at where I am now, and I know what I want to do. I need your help. We need money for research. It may not save my life. It may save my children's lives. It may save someone you love. And it's very important. And ESPN has been so kind to support me in this endeavor and allow me to announce tonight that with ESPN's support, we are starting the Jimmy V Foundation for Cancer Research. And its motto is, don't give up, don't ever give up. And that's what I'm going to try to do. Every minute that I have left, I will thank God for the day and the moment I have. And if you see me, smile and maybe give me a hug. Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul. And those three things are going to carry on forever. I thank you, and God bless you all.
Wow, so incredible even to this day. What an amazing speech that was. We're thrilled to have you all joining us today to taste some great wines. We've got some amazing special guests that are going to be popping in here soon. I know you all are parched and ready to enjoy this flight. 4 delicious wines. Our Reserve Rosé we're going to start with. Henrik, Bob, tell us a little bit about this Reserve Rosé and why it is so delicious.
Well, thanks, Barrett. And first of all, welcome, everyone. What a great cause today, and it's a beautiful day in the Napa Valley. And you can see that we already have our 4 wines poured out. We've got the Rosé in an all-purpose glass. We've got the Chardonnay in a Burgundian Chardonnay glass, and we've got both the Cabernet Sauvignon-based wines in Cabernet Bordeaux-style glasses. If you don't have your Chardonnay and your red wines open yet, make sure you've got those open. Make sure they're aerated a little bit. Maybe even if you haven't decanted those red wines, they'll taste even better as we enjoy them during the show today. But we're going to start with the Rosé. And the first thing I would say is make sure your Rosé is cold. It's really something that, again, this time of year, it's just so refreshing. There's Rosés out there, so many different styles now, and I'm so glad to see how popular it is. But for me, Rosé should be refreshing. We don't always think about it in terms of a food pairing. And I think rosés like this, rosés with structures, rosé with actually a little bit of backbone, really are wonderful with food. And today we're going to see it with pizza, as a matter of fact. But when I smell this rosé, you always want that kind of fresh fruit. We're thinking of fresh strawberries, and we're thinking of even things like roses. We're thinking of really just the smells of summer, as a matter of fact, is what we've got here. But Henrik, we've got some different grapes involved here than most of the time you'll find in rosé, huh?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a couple of different ways to make a rosé. Usually it's a blend of red and white wine. You can also do the saignée methods, which is bleeding off juice, or you can do something that we have chosen to do at Alpha Omega Winery, a unique process. We actually go out early enough in harvest, bring in some unripe clusters that has all the qualities that we want in a rosé. So we want high acidity, we want low sugars, because we don't want a high alcohol rosé. So we get all the benefits of bringing in grapes early enough. And it's usually a byproduct that ends up on the ground when we clip up clusters. But for this specific program, we actually get the benefits of saving some grapes and making it into a hopefully enjoyable rosé.
And I absolutely love it, because I think when I taste this wine, you're right, it's mouthwatering, isn't it, Henrik? It's got that bright acidity, those kind of bright tart strawberry flavors, and yet immediately I'm just thinking that this is the kind of rosé that is something that's going to be around for very long. I'm kind of amazed that we still have some of this rosé, as a matter of fact. This is a perfect time of year to have it, and perfect in an afternoon like this with this kind of food.
Yeah, I always catch myself in saying, well, what's the personality of a rosé? Because for me, this wine actually drinks more like a light red wine. If you close your eyes when you smell it, when you taste it, I don't think you will pick it out as a rosé necessarily. And that's the goal that we have from the winemaking side, that we're aiming to create something that has this fresh acidity, that's sparkling personality, and I think this wine pairs so well with so many different dishes because of that freshness of fruit and that natural acidity in the wine.
Yeah, this is a dangerous wine, guys. I mean, let's be real. This is a chill it and kill it summer wine. This Reserve Rosé, it's absolutely phenomenal. We don't make a lot of this wine. We will have a really awesome case offer for you all after this tasting, but guys, I mean, I think you hit it spot on. Just a wine that you can drink anytime throughout the day. Huh?
Yeah, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some pizza pairings with this too, right?
Yeah, we are. And I think we need to pan over to Michelle and Chef Nash here, who are working on a pizza right now. Michelle and Chef Nash, how are things going back there?
Things are fantastic. We're having a great time. I'm here with Amanda Schroeder from the V Foundation, and I wanted to introduce her to mine and Robin's favorite thing to do with friends and family, get together and build your own pizza. However you get your dough, if it's already made in the store, or a chef will tell you about variations of that. And then you just pick out your favorite ingredients. You can bring them, or you just let your hostess put them all out and you create pizzas. And then you write your name on your pizza paddle. I always call it a BYOP, bring your own paddle. But you can also use cutting boards. Write your name on with a Sharpie on the board that you're working on. And then when it comes off with the grill, the pizza oven, however you choose, whatever vessel to cook with, you can compete and see whose pizzas are the best. And I'm telling you, my director of communications, Kelly Carter, she's done this party with me, and she can bring a pizza.
And it's so easy.
It is easy, and it's fun. It's so much fun, and it goes great with wine. I usually start with the Chard or rosé or white wines for building the pizzas, and when they come out the oven and you put them on a banquet table, then you just bring out the reds. And you can go online to our website, and you can find the whole ingredients from the chef and on making the pizza dough, a list of ingredients to have for your party, and also how to stage and build and craft your own pizza party.
That is so great. Thank you, Rob and Michelle, so much for having us here and doing this, especially for our guests and for everyone out there. Thank you all for joining us.
It's about the V-Wine celebration in Napa. We have a great time celebrating cures for cancer. And it's a new era for cancer research. And so we are here to support the V Foundation, as we have been for many years, and we feel very blessed, as my husband and I both have lost our moms to cancer. So, all right, let's have some fun. I'm going to win.
Oh, we got Love it.
So Barrett, talking a little bit about the type of pizza to go with this kind of rosé. Think about a margarita pizza, kind of that classic kind of tomato sauce and basil and mozzarella. But in this case, maybe throw a little prosciutto on, maybe a little bit of roasted garlic to pick up a little bit of that body that you've got in this full-bodied rosé here. And it's really kind of a fresh summertime pizza, but it's got a little bit of that saltiness from the prosciutto and a little bit of that flavor from that roasted garlic that really marries nicely with the strong flavors of this rosé.
If the rosé lasts that long, I mean, you don't even need food with wine like this.
You
just
better
put
have
it back.
two, right?
Yeah. You need a couple bottles. Again, we're going to offer this rosé to you all at an incredible pricing, on a case pricing, after our virtual tasting. A lot of things going on here right now. We're loving it. Hope you all enjoying it. We've got some good comments. Carol Kelly says the rosé is amazing. Got a couple people that asked about the type of the blend of the rosé. 55% Cabernet Sauvignon, 45% Malbec. A lot going on, Henrik. I think you guys did a great job with this wine.
Well, thank you. And I should include that these grapes comes from all over the Napa Valley. So Napa Valley, not to get too technical on it, but has 16 different sub-appellations. And we're sourcing from currently from 12 of those. Some of these grapes will come from one of the vineyards that we have up 1,600 feet on Atlas Peak. And a component is also coming from the Sunshine Valley vineyard, which is in Coombsville, in middle of Napa Valley. So we source from all over the place, and I think that gives the complexity in the wine.
Absolutely. Well, delicious wine, great wine to get this start off. We've got three more amazing wines to get to with our flagship, the Era, to close off. But this Reserve Rosé is just a great starter wine in this flight. So well done, Henrik and your team. All right, we've got a special guest that we want to bring in right now from the V Foundation. Legendary figure skater, 1984 Olympic gold medalist, 4 consecutive world champions back in the early 80s. Bringing in Scott Hamilton today. Scott, welcome.
Hey, thank you. It's great to be here. And what a beautiful setting. My goodness, it looks absolutely stunning there. Where I am here in Nashville, it is about 200 degrees outside with 300% humidity. So I just am so envious right now of everybody there, especially at Alpha Omega, because I've been there, and I was there last year, as a matter of fact, for the V Foundation Wine Celebration. We popped in and I said hello to my friends, Robin and Michelle Baggett, the owners, who are right there in the center. It's great to have remarkable friends like the Baggetts, because everything they do is the highest of quality. everything Robin did with the Warriors and beautiful building, the Oracle Center. And I mean, it's just, it's just really great to see them put all of their efforts into building a destination in the Napa Valley that is of the highest quality and where they look after people and are craftsmen at the highest level. So I'm just so proud of them. And I never would have met them had I not had cancer myself. That's a longer story. I lost my mother to cancer as well. So we have that in common. So much has happened this year for us. I have my CARES Foundation. We partner with the V Foundation, everything. You can see my Victory Over Cancer, my Thriver Award from Robin Roberts. That was another V Foundation thing. We love the V Foundation. Their science is, it's first rate. They're really doing a lot of great things. They're asking the right questions. They're working with a lot of different foundations like mine. So I'm really proud of the work they're doing and the promise of the next miracle. You know, you look at everything we're going through right now with COVID-19 and the loss of life has been extraordinary. It's been, as of this morning, 137,864 deaths. This year for cancer, there'll be 606,520 deaths estimated. So we've got work to do, important work to do, but we can't do it alone. We need everybody to participate and to celebrate life in this way by having a wine tasting and having just this quality and this amazing experience is just a spectacular way to bring people together, common cause, and to right the ship on cancer treatment options and survivability. Another thing we did this year, a shameless plug, I think you've got one right there on the desk there, is we did a children's book called Fritzy Finds a Hat. And it's basically based on my mom and my story with her, how she told us she had cancer and basically allowed us to participate in her journey and in this really gentle tale. It's a wonderful way to talk to your kids about cancer. It's a beautiful book and Fritzy has a problem. He needs to find the perfect hat for his mom, who's probably going to lose her hair because she's going through cancer treatment. And so he has to find the perfect hat. It's about problem solving, which is what we're all here to do. And it's a gentle way and a soft place to land for your children if you need to talk to them about cancer. Again, we're doing everything virtual these days. I didn't have to get on a plane to be in Napa today. I'm telling you, I really want to be there. But it's about the upcoming events, not just this one. This one's great, but the V Foundation, their wine celebrations on August 8th. It's a virtual event, and with a partner like ESPN, it's going to be slick. It's going to be well produced, and they're going to be able to raise a lot of money like they did last year. It was just extraordinary how much they're allowed. They can bring people together like we are today, celebrate life like we are today, and wine and all the things that just give our lives, joy. I hope everybody participates in that day as well as this day because, they are truly making a difference. And with all the focus being elsewhere, we really need to allow people to understand that just because we're in this really unique time in our history doesn't mean that cancer's gone away. It hasn't. And we really need to, keep our heads down, do the work, and save lives, and honor those that have lost their battles to cancer as well. So I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me, Rob and Michelle. Thank you for including me in this incredible day. And man, my mouth is watering for those pizzas and those delicious wines. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, cheers to you, Scott.
God bless you.
Cheers to you. Appreciate it. Champion on the ice, of course, but surviving multiple bouts with cancer, Scott Hamilton, legendary. Really appreciate you and your words. And Robin and Michelle, your relationship with Scott has been great over the years. So, Scott, really appreciate that. We're tasting wines for you. We wish you could be here, but we're glad you're well and safe where you are. We've got a quick Robin and Michelle. We got Julia Maples wants to say hello and thank you for for all you do on the V Foundation. She's tuning in on Facebook Live. Julia, cheers to you. Or excuse me, Julie, cheers to you. This Reserve Rosé was absolutely phenomenal, but we're going to keep it going. We're getting whiffs of pizza here. Nash, you just brought a pizza right next to me. It smelled like it smells amazing over there. We hope you guys are enjoying the pizza demonstration and maybe making some pizzas at home. As we get into our next wine, we're just going to keep elevating the game. Henrik Bob, our Reserve Chardonnay, one of the best Chardonnays we make here at Alpha Omega. This is the 2017 Reserve Chardonnay. Henrik, let's talk a little bit about this wine, what makes it so special, and maybe dive into the winemaking a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I often hear people when they visit Alpha Omega, they say, I usually don't care for Chardonnay, but I actually love yours. And I take that as a huge compliment, because I think what we're trying to thrive for here is a certain style of Chardonnay that isn't necessarily an oak bomb or butter overly buttery. As you probably can hear on my accent, I'm not from around, so I was brought up with some of the better Burgundies and some crisp wines and that has that freshness. And for the same reason, when I stepped back into the winemaking role here at Alpha Omega, we decided we want to source grapes from colder climates, and they're actually amazingly available in Napa, because despite the size of Napa Valley, it's roughly 30 miles from south to north. You actually have a lot of different growing regions where you have colder climate sites. So the secret a little bit behind our Chardonnay, I would like to say, is that we source from these colder climates. We also have a component, a little bit of a secret insider for us here. It's a single vineyard up on Mount Vida, 1,600 feet elevation. And I think the combination of the colder climate plus this high elevation, plus a lot of different Chardonnay clones, that combined with 100% French oak barrels, not necessarily new, but from different regions of France. I think that's the secret in the recipe for us here.
Bob, what do you think about this Chardonnay? I mean, Chardonnay, I feel like is kind of making, somewhat of a, not that it needed to make a comeback, but I feel like people are underestimating the power of Chardonnay, and we're making some incredible Chardonnays here at Alpha Omega.
Well, and I think you're right, and I think Henrik really touched on it too, because I think Chardonnay is really a function of two things. First of all, great vineyards, but also careful winemaking. And I think Chardonnay reflects both of those dramatically. And when you smell this kind of wine, and you see this broader glass that we have here, so you can really smell the aromas, I start to smell really everything from just roasted corn, as a matter of fact, to some wonderful pear and apple fruits, and of course a little bit of that smokiness also from the oak. But I smell a concentration, and I think that, to me, when I hear the word reserve so often, I'm wondering, what is reserve? What makes it a reserve wine? Is it going to age longer? And I think that's the other thing about Chardonnay, is that Chardonnay is very enjoyable in its youth, but it can age too. And I think something like this is going to improve that much over time, isn't it, Henrik?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's some of the techniques that we're playing around with on the winemaking team is actually a combination of oxidative style versus a reductive style. And those two are, they're actually opposite sides of fermentation. So I think by implementing that kind of style during fermentation, also the gentle application of French oak, I think that all ties into to a fresher style of Chardonnay. And I think that we have really dialed in on is actually the use of French oak on this. So instead of using the regular size barrels that we use for, say, Cabernet Sauvignon or any of our red wines, we actually go into a double-sized barrels strictly for our Chardonnay. And I think that gives it a supple influence of oak, and it also helps us a little bit with softening the tannins in a white wine.
And Henrik, I kind of agree. When I'm tasting this wine, I'm tasting fruit. I'm tasting bright lemony fruit. It's got this wonderful richness to it, but it's balanced. It's not heavy, in other words, on my palate. And I'm thinking that in terms of pizza here, what we talked a little bit about was something that maybe fresh vegetables. This time of year, we have so many wonderful vegetables coming in, and the pizza we're thinking about here had tomatoes. We were thinking of squash. We were thinking of roasted corn, and even a little bit of scallions. and then maybe a little bit of kind of a pesto base, and maybe a little fontina cheese to really kind of create a little bit more body in the pizza itself. And I think with Nash, when we're talking about a grilled pizza, we're actually going to have kind of that natural kind of smoky flavor in the pizza itself, which reflects kind of the smokiness in the wine. Is there an advantage to smoky pizza though?
You know, I think that anytime that you're introducing real fire into your cooking, it just adds another element of flavor. You know, it's like the difference between grilling a steak or doing it in the pan. Of course, 9 times out of 10, we're going to choose straight off the grill. And the same goes true for pizza as well, Bob.
I'd love that in terms of that, because maybe even some pine nuts on that also. In other words, so often when I'm pairing food and wine, I'm thinking, what's in the wine? What can I have in the food that kind of mimics it? And then that really kind of that bridge between the two of those complementary flavors to me so often brings kind of a harmony in your mouth when you're tasting the food and the wine together.
And I couldn't agree more. I think it's always about the perfect match between wine and food. It's, of course, as a winemaker, I would love to for the wine to take center stage, but I also realize that there's not a happy marriage if there's a disbalance. So I think your suggestion here, Bob, on the pizzas is spot on.
Love it. I mean, this wine is absolutely delicious. It's also like liquid gold. I mean, you know, and I always say this, I don't need food with this wine. I mean, I'll just drink it by itself and it's still dangerously good. Our Reserve Chardonnay, the 2017, absolutely phenomenal wine. We've got we're going to keep it going. We've got 2 unbelievable red wines here that we want to taste. But first, we've got another special guest from the V Foundation that is chiming in that we're going to bring in here for a quick second. She is a distinguished professor. She's the former chair of the Department of Immunology at the University of Pittsburgh, former president of the American Association of Immunologists, and her research has led to multiple tumor antigens and the development of potential cancer vaccines. Streaming in right now, we have Dr. Olya Finn. Olya, how are you doing?
I had to unmute myself. I'm doing. This is very hard for me to do. I'm never mute.
Right? Welcome.
So all of these things that you said about me, thank you very much, are great. But my real claim to fame is that I'm Michelle's and Robin's great friend. And I'm really grateful that they invited me to join this wonderful event and to bring my date, Seth Finn here, my husband. We have come to Napa every August now for many years. I've been on the scientific review board for at least 15 years. And we met Michelle and Robin when they bid on the very first time that we offered our guest house in Italy, in Tuscany. And they were our very first guests. And the most wonderful thing was, not only was there great chemistry between us, and I think Michelle will confirm that, but the intimacy was built right away, because what they were doing on this 1 week stay with us was looking for a place to get married in Tuscany. Not having found a really good place, they decided to get married in the States, but the following year they came and spent a week with us as part of their honeymoon. So this was a beginning of a very wonderful friendship. And I'm really, really angry at the coronavirus this year, because with all of us being as busy as we are, this one weekend in August was not only a chance to do something for the V Foundation, but also to spend some time with them. And this is, this is good. We can see each other. I just wish Zoom would have stretch and sniff so we can smell some of that pizza. But the other thing is that, I want to thank them also for these wonderful wines that the two of us are going to take some time to finish. And I want to thank you all for suggestions for what we should use as pairings to taste these wines. But I thought they were so special that they would require a homemade dish. So I made my wine biscuits, my Serbian wine biscuits. Make sure that it's Serbian biscuits. Serbian wine is not that good, but these are outstanding wine biscuits. So we are enjoying them, and I wish I could share them with you as well. Now, Scott mentioned also that we're in the midst of this amazing pandemic, and that the humanity is surprised because we haven't had a pandemic in a very long time. In fact, the second half of last century, more people died of things other than infectious disease. We thought we had basically dealt with plague and smallpox and polio, and then this coronavirus came. And it surprised us, and it changed many plans, including this fantastic V Foundation fundraiser that we are so interested every year to be at and to raise some money for the foundation. But I want to put things into perspective. Scott mentioned some numbers. So right now, today, because I checked with the WHO, today we have 14.1 million people infected with the virus and close to 600,000 deaths. But today, in 2019, actually, which is the fact that I can check on today's date, we had 18.1 million people diagnosed with cancer. And in 2000, 9.6 million people died of cancer. The two are horrible pandemics, but the difference is that next year, this time, we're going to all be together in Napa. And there will be 0 cases of COVID. We'll get the vaccine. Hundreds of trials are now already going on and work on the vaccines. But there still will be 18 million people this year and next year diagnosed with cancer, and 6 million people will die. 1 in 8 men and 1 in 6 women get diagnosed during their lifetime with cancer. And of those who are diagnosed, 1.5 men die and 1 in 6 women die. So this has been an ongoing pandemic because this is a worldwide problem. And we have been, and I say we because I've been in cancer research for the last 30 years, we have been on the front lines of this pandemic with the same sort of intensity that people are now working on the coronavirus. But coronavirus is only a virus, but cancer is cancer. Nobody will ever say, oh, it's only cancer. But I can easily say, oh, it's only a virus. We'll get a vaccine, we'll get it done. So we have a much bigger problem that with cancer that we now have with the coronavirus, because we will solve the coronavirus problem. But the problem in cancer is something that we have to incrementally make small success after small success, small step after small step to finally get there. And I have to say, the V Foundation is supporting all cancer research. I'm an immunologist, but they're geneticists, they're molecular biologists, they're biological engineers. There are all sorts of people who are applying to the V Foundation because it does take everybody to work together on this problem, every science, and then every donor together to get this problem solved. This year, however, as you may know, because many of you are, supporters of the V Foundation for a long time now, but you may know that we have multiple types of grants. And so over the year, we support multiple types of grants at multiple levels of research. But this year we decided, and that's in part due to the coronavirus and the pandemic, that we should support the scholars, our youngest and most promising minds in cancer research. So when Saturday the 8th of August comes and we have this virtual auction, and then we also have the seminar Answers for Cancer, that we so look forward to every year, to meeting with people, to answering questions, to showing them how much success has happened the year before due to their donations. You will be hearing from some of our most talented young people, and everything that we raise, all the money that we raise, including from this wonderful wine tasting, is going to go to the young people. At this point, they are most hurt by the pandemic. There were some slowdowns. Young people have children who couldn't go to school. They couldn't make much progress in their work, especially young women scientists. So we need to give them a really good boost this year. So more than any other year, we have already met as a review committee. We reviewed close to 75 grant applications. We have at least 30 that are absolutely amazing. And so we are hoping that we can support all of them with the money that we raised this summer and that, you know, and for the rest of the year. So thank you all very much for being here. Thank you, Michelle and Robin, for organizing this and for giving us a chance to all get together on this, in this wonderful, with this wonderful goal. And we will, I am sure we will see each other this time next year.
Love it. Cheers to you, Olya. Thank you so much. Cheers. Thanks for chiming in.
Love you, Seth. Thank you guys so much for being here. And
Love
I'm
you guys.
tearing up over this pizza.
Yes, cheers to you, and thank you for everything you've done to raise awareness and to research cancer. And again, I just want to remind everyone joining in, we're raising money for cancer research with this virtual tasting today. 25% of the proceeds from our virtual tasting today are going to be donated to the V Foundation. So I think that's a great trade-off. Let's buy some wine, let's enjoy some wine, stock up for the year, and support a great cause. Cheers to you, Dr. Olya. Really appreciate it. Before we move on to our red, we've got a quick question about the Reserve Chardonnay. One of our Air Elite members, John Klein, Henrik, who wants to know how long the Chardonnay can be cellared. John, I say drink it now and then buy more, but we'll talk to Henrik. Henrik, what do you think on ageability of the Reserve Chard?
Well, I've had the great privilege of tasting back vintages of Alpha Omega Chardonnays, and recently the 2006 and 2008 vintages still showing beautifully. Of course, we are sold out, but I think the sweet spot for our Chardonnays is probably somewhere around 5 to 6 years in, and the longevity of the wines is, I'm guessing here, but I'm thinking these wines will show beautifully even with 10 or 15 years of age.
Yeah, the issue is we don't have a lot of this left. I mean, our library vintages sell out. We don't make a lot of this wine, especially the Reserve Chardonnay. So you want to stock up on a wine like this because it's just not going to be around that much longer. John, cheers to you. Thank you for being with us. Real quick, we've got a question on here from Patrick Pip. Michelle, Patrick wants to know what the origin of Alpha Omega is. And I think that's a great thing for us to touch on. Obviously, we focus on world-class wines from some of the best vineyards in Napa, but the story of Alpha Omega, it includes wines, it includes family, and it also includes philanthropy. Can you tell us a little bit about how Alpha Omega came to be?
Well, my husband's started the Tolosa winery, named after the Mission de Tolosa, named after the Saints of Toulouse, France. And I told him nobody can pronounce it, no one understands what Tolosa means, but it's a beautiful name, it's a beautiful story. And as we were moving to Napa and we were discussing in the car, he said, our world's the letter A. And I'm like, all right, I've got this. So I only had the A in the alphabet to work with. And as I went through many different words and terms, and you think about a saturated market with a lot of 4 generations with great family last names, and we're nobody moving up to Napa. And so I found Alpha and Omega. And I thought, well, everybody has some brand familiarity with Alpha and Omega. It means something whether you're a Christian or you studied Greek alphabet or you were in the fraternity, Alpha and Omega. And I took the and out of it because I was at the top of the search engine with just Alpha Omega. So Alpha and Omega for me is the beginning of the end. You know, Robin and I are faith-based. And so for us, that was the leading determination of Alpha and Omega, the all divine, from beginning to end. So we put that into our culture of our business, that everything that we do is a trinity. It's our people, it's our place, and it's our product. And we promised ourselves and we promised our team that we would always do everything beautiful from start to finish. And that's all divine.
Love it. Love it. And we're very great question, Patrick. Thank you for asking that. You know, we got some members of Alpha Omega tuning in this virtual tasting. We have some supporters of the V Foundation here. So we welcome any and all questions about our wines and about Alpha Omega Winery. And just to kind of let you all know that this back scene is real. I know it's absolutely beautiful. We're overlooking, yeah, right, yeah, through the vineyards. This is all real. We're overlooking Pritchard Hill here back in our back barrel building crush pad at Alpha Omega Wineries up in Rutherford, just off the 29 on the western side of Rutherford. So Michelle, thank you for sharing that. Gentlemen, we've got another delicious wine, and you know, I don't want to say it because the reality is our Reserve Rosé, our Chardonnays, and our Sauvignon Blanc is absolutely delicious, but we make some of the best Cabernet Sauvignon in Napa Valley. And let's get right into it. We've got two delicious reds to taste here. This is our 2017 Cabernet Sauvignon. Henrik, let's talk a little bit about fruit sourcing, because the key with Alpha Omega is the quality of the fruit that we are able to get.
Definitely. So, I mean, no matter how much I would like to take credit for it, I think it all comes back to the raw material, and those are grapes. So having the privilege of having my own vineyard team on site, led by our vineyard manager, Joel Antonio, that always gives me, or already gives me, an advantage that other wineries may not have. And then, of course, also the commitment from vintners, Robin and Michelle Baggett, of saying, go out there, source the best grapes you can find. Some of the most iconic vineyards in Napa, we actually source grapes from there. So I think it makes my job a little bit easier. And of course, dedication, passion comes into play as well. So yeah, I like to always say there's no right and wrong in this business. There's just personal perception. And the style that we are shooting for at Alpha Omega is maybe a little bit less overripe. We want a little bit more natural acidity in the wines. We're not afraid of tannins in the wines, because we know that over time those tannins will mellow down and yeah, kind of give structure and complexity to the wines. So I feel privileged being able to work with some of these fruit sources. And like I mentioned earlier, we have the great fortune of being able to source from 12 of the 16 sub-appellations in Napa. So just like a chef Nash, I feel like I'm a chef in a kitchen. I have a lot of different ingredients to put together in the blends.
Love it. You know, and our vintners, Robin and Michelle, we only want to make the best wine here in Napa Valley. So where we get our fruit from, Bob, I mean, you can go down the list of some of the single vineyard Cabernet Sauvignons that we produce. But this 2017 Cab has a variety of different vineyards blended together. And then Henrik, you and your team with your barrel fermentation process, and these wines are so drinkable at a young age. Bob, what are your thoughts on this 2017 Cabernet Sauvignon?
Well, let's be honest. Cabernet Sauvignon is one of the most planted red grapes in the world. And I know I said this before. If I'm a Cabernet Sauvignon grape, I want to be right here in the Napa Valley. This is where you have the ideal combination of climate, soil, and really kind of talent in terms of interpreting a grape that arguably makes great wine, some of the great wines of the world. And so what Henrik is talking about is exactly right. The great raw products, raw materials, but each of these products are so unique, whether you're in the valley floor, whether you're on a hillside, whether you're on a mountaintop, whether you're in the cooler part of the valley or the warmer part of the valley. All this bringing together of these different vineyards and sources is really how you build complexity. And that's immediate. When I smell this wine, I start to smell complexity. There's red fruits, there's plenty of dark fruits, but there's again just that backbone and that structure of Cabernet Sauvignon that says, I'm here now and I'm going to be around for a while.
Yeah, and I'll top it up to Barrett's points about the barrel fermentation, because that is probably one of the most unique features that we do here at Alpha Omega. So barrel fermentation, it's very simple, and short version of it is we actually use French oak barrels. We stand them on their heads, we pop off the rims, take out the heads and seal them back up with the rims, and then use them as small wooden fermenters. What that does to the process of fermentation is it implements the oak and the tannin levels at a very, very early stage in the wine. And normally when people are talking about tannins, they assume that it's something astringent, it's something that is bitter in the wine, and it can be. But with different fermentation temperatures and with our access to so many different sources of grapes, we can actually build structure and complexity into the wine at a very early stage. So it is a super labor-intensive process, because as you probably can imagine, a small French oak barrel doesn't hold a lot of grapes. And once everything is pressed off, the final wine or liquid that comes out of this is so minuscule versus a stainless steel tank where you can put in a lot of tonnage. So, but we do it for one purpose only: quality.
Absolutely. And I'm just, with what's going on behind us here with the pizza making going on, Bob, I mean, as far as food pairings on our 2017 Cabernet Sauvignon, I'm sure you've got a lot of ideas that are flowing in your head right now. How is this going to pair with this pizza?
Well, this pizza is kind of a tribute to Robin, as a matter of fact. Actually, I think we got the Barbecue Brothers back there, as a matter of fact. I know, Nash, you're a fan of barbecue also, and really we tried to keep it fairly straightforward, just in terms of really the barbecued pork, but we've got some grilled onions, we've got some wonderful kind of grilled plums here also that are all on top of a roasted garlic butter base, and then just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. But Robin, how's it looking back there?
It's looking good. I mean, I really, when this idea of doing the pizza the way we're doing it today, I was really excited because, you know, we have a really nice pizza oven here on property. I think we got about 10 to 15,000 into it, and we've used it 4 times. And the reason is it takes forever to get a fire up to speed. In fact, I have a friend in Pebble Beach that spent $50,000 on his pizza oven. He's used it 3 times. So a lot of times pizza ovens just don't work. And then the other thing you can do is you can have a gas-fired one. Kalamazoo makes one where it's kind of instant gratification. You turn it on, and it does have heat at both directions. But everybody's got a gas grill, and that's what I thought was so nice. And to have Chef Nash here to tell us how you do it on a gas grill. That's what the most important thing about this today.
You know, if you look it up on the internet, you'll see 100 different videos of how to grill pizza on a gas grill. But for me, I think, you know, I'm a crust guy. I think crispy crust is paramount in every pizza right there. So basically what I did here was I stretched out my pizza dough. You can use a rolling pin if you want to use a rolling pin. I do mine by hand though, because it's not my first pizza. And so I've got the gas grill right now. It's about 500 degrees. And so what I do is I take this pizza paddle. If you don't have a pizza paddle, you can use a cutting board, or you can use the back of a sheet tray. And I dusted it with a little bit of semolina flour or cornmeal so it moves around on there. And then basically what I do is I go straight directly on here. And so this grill is clean and it's had a little bit of oil on there, and that's it. But the pizza crust is just as is. And so what I do is I slide it on there, and you could see that grill is super hot underneath it, and it's going to cook the bottom of the pizza. I close it up so it bakes a little bit. After about 2 minutes, what I get is something that looks like this. The bottom of the pizza has been grilled, but the top of the pizza is still raw, obviously. So what we do then when we build our pizzas is we put the pizza this direction on the paddle, and we put all the toppings on here, starting with the sauce, then the cheese, then all the toppings like you can see they did.
Wait, Nash, sauce first?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, don't worry.
Noted. No.
It's TV. We'll fix it.
Yeah, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got your back. Don't worry.
Thanks, buddy.
But you can see on the top of Robin's pizza here, he's got those grill marks on there, and that's because actually what he's done there is he's topped this part of the pizza. And then when I put the pizza back on the grill, I'm going to slide the raw side of the crust onto the grill, and you can see this one. It's been cooking for a couple minutes here right now, and you can see the bottom of the crust starts to cook as well. And so we get a nice crispy crust on that pizza on the bottom and on the top. If you can get a little shot of the bottom of that pizza, you can see it's crispy. You can see the grill marks on there as well. And so that's basically 1, 2, 3 on how to grill a pizza.
Well, you don't have to spend $15,000 on a pizza oven that takes 10 hours to get it up to temperature. Nash knows, he's a pro. He has all the pieces, but how long does it take you to get it? I mean, it takes a while to get up to temperature in a real pizza oven.
Yeah, it takes, I usually light them the day ahead of time.
Okay.
At my pizzeria, ours runs 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, so we don't have to worry about it. But this is a kind of a cool technique because, yes, you can turn your grill on and come out 30 minutes later and make pizza, where if you do that in a wood-fired oven, you have some weak pizza.
Nash, I had a quick question for you, too, about pizza dough, too. Obviously, it looked like you made your own dough. What do you think about pre-made versus making your own dough?
So for me personally, I'm not just saying this because I own a pizzeria. I would go to my local pizzeria. I'd find somebody that you think makes great pizza dough or makes great pizza. And I'd say, how much for a couple dough balls? if you are adventurous and you want to start making your own pizza, you can check out the Alpha Omega page, and there'll be a link there to my pizza dough recipe. However, I really think that there are people like me who have dedicated the majority of their adult lives perfecting pizza dough. So why try to reinvent the wheel on that? Go to somebody like myself and you know, buy great pizza dough from your local pizzeria. That would be my take on it.
Love it.
Well, and I, you know, I would like to say in regards to the Build Your Own Pizza Party, we have friends that make their own dough, and we also have friends that do exactly what Chef Nash said, and they bring the pizza pretty much just like this in a box, but not cooked. Also, Whole Foods has gluten-free pizza. They have the cornmeal pizzas. I'm not trying to promote any brand, but you can go to your specialty market and get the pizza dough. So bring it ready for the party, because you don't want to slow the party down and you want your pizza to be perfect. And I also recommend having one person or two people who know what they're doing to cook the pizzas, because they'll be drinking wine, and next thing you know, they've forgotten about your pizza with your name on it, and it's on fire in the grill.
Love it, love it. Speaking of putting names, we got to introduce our COO here, Jeff Knowles. You know, I hate, and it's the guy that really holds everything together, and I hate to say it, Jeff, but you know, I mean, you forgot the sauce, huh?
Well, I didn't forget the sauce. It's on there. So I know Nash. He likes to beat me in golf pretty frequently. So I gave him a little bit of a curveball here because I know he can handle it. So they gave me the most challenging pizza to make, I think, intentionally. And because you were describing the
You're an expert at solving challenging issues, though.
I just kept adding ingredients. This is going to be a deep dish barbecue pizza. And the sauce is really incorporated throughout the entire thing. So I'm feeling good about it. I know Nash can fix it. I even made sure the sauce ran over on one side so it would flare up to give you a little challenge.
Stick a little bit, stick a little bit on the grill.
Exactly. So, yeah, he's got this.
I like that.
He always cleans up after.
There's been some battles between you two guys on the golf course, hasn't there? I can tell.
Yeah, no, definitely. He has most of my money in his
But
pocket.
tomorrow they're partners against my banker and myself.
Oh, we're in
yeah.
trouble. We're in big trouble for sure.
I want updates on that. And you know, the pizzas are smelling amazing. Thank you guys for putting those together. You know, we should touch a little bit on you know, at Alpha Omega, Baggett Barbecue is a legendary thing at Alpha Omega. We've done a virtual tasting about a month ago where we featured Baggett Barbecue. And Robin, let's talk a little bit about Baggett Barbecue and what makes that so special. And maybe we can focus on kind of the relief efforts back in 2017 with Baggett Barbecue.
Yeah, if I could back up just a little, because I got a little nostalgic, because Scott Hamilton, we met at Sherwood Country Club, and there at Sherwood Country Club was also one of my best friends, Sterling Ball, with the Ernie Ball Company.
Yeah.
Well, he's the guy that got us into barbecue, and he's won more per event. He's won more grand championships than any other barbecue competitor ever. And so that's the kind of the Sherwood Country Club connection. And Michelle didn't even tell the rest of it, a part of her story, because we came up with the name Alpha Omega after the third mojito at Sherwood's swimming pool after a round of golf. That's the end of the story, by the way. So yeah, we love barbecue, low and slow, and that's what indirect heat, and it's usually the cuts of either pork or beef or whatever that aren't the ones that you would buy. It's not filet mignon. You're not going to smoke filet mignon. So you're smoking spare ribs, you know, country ribs, all types of different ribs. And then of course, brisket, chicken. And it just, when you cook slow and indirect heat, it just adds tons of flavor. And, you know, so I owe a lot of thanks to Sherwood and Sterling Ball for doing. I have a sickness now. I have somewhere around in excess of 30 different smokers. That's sick. I know, but anyway, we love to cook. And thankfully we had those, because I wanted to answer the other question. Some of our cookers are pretty large, and we do a lot of what we got into was doing it for charity. And so when the fires hit, we did something like at the first set of fires in 17, I think 35,000 meals for first responders. And then the fire, the next year, we did about almost the same, close to something like, we got close to 65,000 meals that we put together. We were able to just cook a lot of food with all the smokers we had. And it was great that we could participate and do something to help. And we fed them well, trust us. They got their protein.
I do have to add something. I know Robin loves barbecue, but early on, I think maybe 2011, when we were Vintner Grant recipients, we decided to have a barbecue cook-off with other barbecue vintners. And so that's become a tradition at the V Foundation for Cancer Research. And Robin, thank you. And thank you for our barbecue team that comes to the V Foundation every year when we do the symposium in the morning, which will happen this year on August the 8th. In the morning, they'll have the cancer symposium where you'll get to meet our research scientists, our advisory board for the V Foundation. And it usually follows up with a great party and a great Bagot Ranch barbecue. So Robin, thank you for always being there for the V Foundation and bringing your barbecue to the table for this event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any excuse to barbecue, give it to me. I'll be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm good with it. That's good.
You'll be the first one here. You know, at our Bagot Barbecue virtual tasting we did about a month ago. Robin, you were here at what, 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning?
Yeah.
First one here. Love it, love it. We're so lucky to have great vintners like Robin and Michelle, and Bagot Barbecue. The relief efforts in the Napa fires a few years back were absolutely legendary. So cheers to you guys. It all starts at the top, and we're lucky to have you as our vintners. Guys, you know, this 2017 is absolutely phenomenal. Love this wine, drinkable, young, barrel fermentation process, Henrik, but ability to lay down in the cellar. Henrik, what are you thinking as far as a cellar time with this wine?
Well, so when you as a winemaker sign off on a blend after spending many hours on the final blend, once the cork is in that bottle, you go back to the bottle, you taste it, and then you cross your fingers and hope that it's going to be approachable and meet your expectations. With the 17 vintage, I found myself at a little bit of a turn in the road, because I thought initially that there was a lot of tannins and structure in the wine, but as these wines are coming around, they've been in bottle for approximately 1 year now. I've actually found a sweetness, a softness to them that makes me even more excited than when we blended them. To answer your question, Barrett, ageability on this, I wish this wine is showing as beautiful as the V Foundation at age 27.
Wow. Wow. Love it. We got a question here that popped in. Just quick question, Chef Nash, temperature on the grill for grilling pizzas?
It's all the way to the max right now. So the grill, it's maxed out. So it's about 550. Keep in mind, every time you're using any piece of cooking equipment, whether it's a grill or an oven, every time you open the door, for every 5 seconds, you lose 100 degrees when that door's open. So what I try to do here is when that pizza goes in there, I try to not spend too much time with the door open. There's a saying says, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. Right? So that goes for barbecue, that goes for grilling too. So you got to get that pizza in there. You got to trust that you're doing the right thing and keep it nice and hot at 500.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. I think I'm looking too much at home. I need to just let it go on my grill. Appreciate that, Chef Nash. 2017 Cabernet Sauvignon, absolutely phenomenal wine. We've got another wine to close out our flagship wine, the Era. It is a new era of cancer research. Before we go over to our flagship wine, we have another special guest that is chiming in from the V Foundation. And really excited to introduce the Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and a distinguished broadcaster and football analyst for ESPN for 20 years. And at the end of that Jimmy V speech at the ESPYs that we started off our virtual tasting with, there were 3 men that helped Jim Valvano get off the stage as he was so ill at the end of that amazing and memorable speech. Dick Vitale, guys, Coach K, and our next guest here, Joe Theismann, is tuning in. We are so grateful to have you, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's great to catch up with you on such a wonderful occasion. And I'm sitting here very jealous because I do not have my Alpha Omega wine sitting in front of me yet, but I will get to mine later tonight.
Love it, love it. We'll send you some wine to follow up for that, Joe. Joe, thanks again. Let's talk a little bit about the relationship with you that you guys have, Robin and Michelle, obviously with with both Scott Hamilton, Dr. Olia, and now with Joe Theismann.
Well, I'm glad to be part of Joe because he's a winner, man. And
Thank
Joe,
you, Robin.
this is I got to go through your book quickly. I loved it. It's 160 pages, right around there. You're my hero, man. You know, I don't want that 600 or 800 page book. And you know, we have a lot in common because you call yourself an overachiever, but I clearly was. I didn't have much athletic talent, but we have two baseball players sitting here. We both played for Augie Garrido at Cal Poly, and you know, if anybody said he was never that good, but overachiever and try, you end up you know, kind of succeeding. And you were one of those, and yeah, what a great career you had.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's an interesting thing when people use the term. I think people describe people like yourself and others, they call us quote unquote overachievers, but in our mind, all we're trying to do is move forward and do the things that we love. And that's the big thing. That was the big thing about Jimmy. I mean, being able to spend that night, as a matter of fact, I have right here in my possession, as you can see, I keep this is the speech that Jimmy gave that night. And I keep the speech with me all the time. It stays in my notes when I do presentations. And when I have a day when things aren't really going the way I want, I just sit down and I read it. And it's an inspiration to me. And as a matter of fact, I mentioned it in the book. The book really are stories. It's a business book with football stories about it. And also it talks about the ways we can get through in our lives. But that night with Jim, so many people have come up to me and said, was that you helping Jimmy Valvano off the stage? And it was one of the most proud moments of my life. You know, in the football arena, in the world of sports, I've been very blessed. In the world of broadcasting, I've been very blessed in different stages to be acknowledged in. But I never felt more humbled nor proud to be able to help Jim off the stage. And as you watch that speech, you would never believe there was anything wrong with him. His humor, his insight, his passion, his love, it was all Jimmy Valvano. And you know, Jim was a friend. Like I go all the way back when I was a kid growing up in South River, New Jersey. And Jim Valvano was a guard at Rutgers University. New Brunswick and South River were 15 minutes apart. So I knew him way back when, I guess you could say, before he ever got into coaching, before he ever did the amazing things that he's done. And the tip of the spear that he has been for us. And I think one thing that people have to understand is the Jim Valvano, the V Foundation, was the beginning of something. But the only way something can have a true effect is to be able to have it continue. And that's what we're doing right now. And it can't be done without money. It can't be done without funding the research. We have to be able to provide the doctors, the scientists, with the ability to be able to go out and create the one thing or two things or three things, whatever it might be, to be able to cure cancer. Cure cancer, that to me is so, it resonates. It's so unbelievable to be able to say that. And I believe we will. We make more and more strides, but you have to have the resources. And that's what the V Foundation is all about, providing resources, a chance to be able to do something special. Now, for so many people out there, maybe cancer hasn't touched your life in any way, maybe a friend or a relative, it hasn't been there. But wouldn't it be great to know that you're contributing to an insurance policy, that if something did happen, there would be a way for us to be able to deal with it and treat it. And so that night remains to me one of the greatest nights of my life. And, you know, like I say, I think of Jimmy often. And when I get down, he's the man that I turn to in his speech and what he says. There's everything there. There's the laughter, there's the thought, there's the tears, there's everything we experience in our lives. Jim captured it so well on that particular night on that stage.
Absolutely. And while I was, me personally, I was very young during that speech, but, you know, I remember watching it over and over again and continuing to watch it, and to see you up there and helping Jim Valvano off the stage was a very inspiring moment. So thank you, Joe. We really appreciate it. How to be a champion every day. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that.
Oh, it's a good one. Hey, Joe, I didn't mention it, but
here it is right there. Just happen to have one.
This is a great book. You know, he talks a lot. Yeah. He talks a lot about teamwork, and
But hey, Joe, we're both 49ers. And I don't mean 49er football team. That's the year we were born.
Yes, yes.
We're from
70,
one 49er to another.
70's the new 50.
Except I'm a little older than you, Joe. I already turned 71 in January.
Oh, well, you nipped me by a little bit, but hey, I'm you know, it really is. It's a funny thing, and it's really, how old do you feel? I mean, that's the whole thing. Is age is irrelative as far as I'm concerned. You take care of yourself, and how old do you feel? You sit down, you have a little Alpha Omega, get your heart going, make yourself feel good, and off you go into the next phase of life and the next phase of the day you want to deal with. So for me, it's exciting to be able to get up every day and figure out what's going on in this crazy world. I hope everybody stays safe out there. I mean, we got to certain points in our lives here in the last 3, 4, 5 months by doing the right thing. And now we have to continue to do that, because this too shall pass. And we won't be back to what people would deem normal, but we will be back to something that will give us our lives back in a perspective that we've had a chance to look back at who we are, who we want to be, like Jimmy said, where we want to go, what we want to do, and who we want to be. This is our chance to be able to reflect on that during this pandemic.
I want to echo one thing you said, Joe. I hadn't thought about it before, but your idea of this being your contribution to the V is like an insurance policy. Very well thought. And that's a good thought. And that's exactly right. Is because you never know. Someone may be impacted someday, and that you've given and helped, come up with something that could let a life live longer.
Our V Cancer Research Scientists, our advisory board, they're so supportive. If you have a question, you have a challenge, you can find a lot of answers through our August the 8th, Saturday morning conference with our cancer research scientists, our doctors. And it also gives you leads and opportunities to connect with these people who can help you, your loved one, your friend. And that's what's so great about the symposium in the morning, is the opportunity to ask the questions of these doctors, and they will redirect you to the doctor that is the professional and that type of cancer. And that's what the V Foundation does. It's helping the entire community in the world who are challenged or have people in their life that are challenged with cancers, and they just want answer, and they want the leading cutting edge technology. And that's that. Joe, we're so grateful that you joined us.
Thank you. And one other thing too, Michelle, is that part of the proceeds from the book will also go to the V Foundation.
Oh, thank you.
And that's just, I live here in Memphis, Tennessee, and of course St. Jude is here, and they do a lot of pediatric cancer research. Part of the book goes to them. Part of the book goes to the V Foundation. Part of the profits that'll be made from the book. I guess there was a time in my life when I was a me person. I wanted to see how many things I could get for myself. But after I was hurt, I had this epiphany that really the reason why we're put on this earth is to serve others. And if there's something that we can do to help someone else, to help relieve the pain of a family, something we can do to make someone's life better, that's why we do what we do. And I appreciate the opportunity to be in association with the V Foundation, do all the things that we do. And I thank you for all the things that you do, because I know it is an endless stream of effort to go forward, to be able to put on a virtual conversation like we're having. Or I would love to pay to see the barbecuer pizzas versus the bank and Robin tomorrow. That would be a heck of a match on TV. I think we could probably get a pretty good audience for that one.
Love it. Love it. Hey, Joe, thank you so much. We got a cheers to you for being here. Really appreciate that. Definitely gonna get that new book and check it out. Proceeds to the V Foundation. Also want to remind you all joining in, what we're doing at Alpha Omega is we're going to use our delicious wines as a tool to raise money for V Foundation and the fight against cancer. So again, 25% of the proceeds from this virtual tasting and additional wines that you purchase after the tasting, we're going to donate back to the V Foundation. So get some great wine and donate some money to a great cause. And again, the insurance policy concept, it hits home, definitely. Joe, everybody. Cheers to you. Thank you again. And we hope to see you out here in Napa Valley sometime soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Real quick, everyone, before we get started on our last wine, our flagship wine, the Era, want to jump over to Chef Nash and check out what's going on with the final product here. Chef, oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, we are pulling pizzas
Now, one of the coolest things about this concept, and this is why I was so excited when Michelle came to ask me to come and do this, is this is something you can really do at your house when you're entertaining, and you can do like what I did, and you can get those pizza shells grilled off and ready to go, and then invite your friends over and everyone makes their own pizza, and you can really go quickly through a really fun experience for a lot of your guests without having to labor over, time. So great idea, Michelle.
Community meal. You can work on it with your friends that are joining in and drink some great wine as well.
You show them how to do it. Do you do one and you say, okay, and then you step back and you drink wine for the rest of the night and let them do all the hard work for you, right? So you get out of cooking dinner at the same time.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
for being with
Yeah,
us.
thank you,
One
Chef.
of the greatest chefs of Italian food, just not pizza, but I mean, and besides Italian food, you've done beautiful dinners and meals for us here at the winery for very special events. And we're just so grateful and blessed that you're here with us. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers to you, Chef. Pizzeria Trevigne, Napa Valley, Tre Posti in Napa Valley. And, I might have to say it. We want to get the update on the round of golf tomorrow, Chef, with you and the boss, and see how that goes. Cheers to you. Thank you again. Tough act to follow, guys, but I mean, we've got our flagship wine, one of the best wines that we make, if not the best. And there's a reason why we selected this wine for this flight, because the name just goes perfectly with the V Foundation and raising money for cancer research. It is a new era in cancer research and raising money for this amazing cause. And we're going to pair it with our best wine, our flagship wine, Henrik the Era 2017. Let's dive into it. I mean, it's a phenomenal wine. What makes it such an incredible wine?
I have no answer for that. This is our expression of simply finding the best barrels out there from the best vineyards, blending them hopefully in the right proportions, and then coming up with something that is outstanding. I was thrilled to see that we included this wine. It's not anything that we share that often, but for this good cause, I was thrilled to see us actually throwing it in there. So super limited production, strictly selected barrel fermentation, the best of the best. This is our expression of how a proprietary wine should taste if you pulled out all the stops.
And to kind of, the reality is, Bob, the fruit that is in this wine is the top fruit that you can get out of Napa Valley. We have our single vineyard program where we're sourcing from some of the best vineyards in Napa Valley, a lot of Beckstopper vineyards, the To Kalon, the Dr. Crane. And then we're also mixing in some of these smaller vineyards in Napa Valley that we are controlling, the Thomas Vineyard up on the Rutherford Hills. The secret vineyard you were alluding to earlier, I'm just going to tell everyone, it's the Drew Vineyard on top of Mount Veeder. Absolutely phenomenal vineyard, a small vineyard that we're putting a lot of love in the vineyard and the winemaking. And I mean, Bob, when you have this many incredible vineyards in one wine, I mean, you get so many different layers of flavors, don't you?
Yeah, I really do, Barrett. And I think maybe Jimmy V might have said it best, because he was talking about how to live life in terms of laughing every day and crying every day and thinking every day. And when I think of great wine does all three of those things to me. I've laughed when I've had great wine. I've cried when I've had great wine. But great wine makes me think. And when I smell a wine like this, I want to smell it. I want to smell it before I have it. I'm not in any rush. I'm enjoying the complexities of it. And really that to me can only be the product of not only great winemaking, but also great fruit sources. And I like to think of this wine as really kind of the ultimate expression of the vintage, because it really is really the all-stars, literally with more kind of sports analogies here. This is really kind of the very best of that particular vintage. So to me, it truly represents the vintage, but it truly represents these Bordeaux varieties. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that you really have a chance to see something that is going to be truly unique every year, even though it still has basically the essence of the Napa Valley.
I like that. This is the all-star team. Well said. This has all of the best vineyards in Napa Valley. And when you put them all together, you're going to have this incredible team. And Robin and Michelle, the Era has been a wine that you two came up with first year at coming up here and starting Alpha Omega in 2006. From where it started out to where it is now, I mean, what do you guys think about this flagship wine? It just gets better and better, doesn't it?
Well, I'll just say, and I had some 06 the other day. I couldn't believe how great it was. Though it ages too. We're talking about aging. And I know some of you are concerned that since Joe and I are 49ers and we're up in the 70s now, we want to drink it now. You know, how long, much longer. But it does age well. I mean, Henrik, have you probably tasted some of the era recently too, some of the older vintages. How have they turned out?
Well, it's I think they age magnificently because of this natural acidity that we always have in the wines, and that is no accident. It's very deliberate that once we go out, we sit down with the blends, we want them to shine, and we're not afraid of letting vintage shine through as well. So just like an all-star team, if you're using the same players for like 20 seasons consecutively, I don't think you have an all-star team. So you need to adapt to the team every year. We do the same with adapting to a vintage.
Well, for me, it's really about terroir and growing up in the South and making mud pies in the rain and tasting them. I've always loved to taste the soil. And I literally, if you think winemakers are crazy because they're tasting the soil, it's granite. Really, are you tasting all of these flavor profiles of minerals? And I can taste, that's my taste bud. I can taste the terroir, and what era is an expression of the many wonderful variations of sand and soil and rocks and geography within the Napa Valley. And that's what's fun. People are like, well, it's all Napa Valley wine. Well, go on a Taste the Dirt tour and tasting with me, and I will share with you that you can get a lot of different complexities of minerality in the soil, tasting it in the dirt, or you can just be a little bit more luxurious and taste it in the wine.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add, and first of all, I don't make wine. I tried it. I wasn't very good at it at all. Anyway, but our winemakers, I got a kudos because this is 17 and it's tasting great now. So we talk about ageability, but our winemakers make wine that's approachable almost immediately. I mean, we sell a lot of this just out of the barrel. And I've never had, in my experience way back when I started, did you want to take wine out of a barrel? It's kind of like, really? You know, it wasn't very good. But our winemakers, they do a fabulous job. Yeah, out of the barrel, it's almost like a finished wine.
Well, and I think you're so right. When you look at wine, I think a lot of people thought, well, this wine has to be like this to turn into this. And it isn't that way. I think what we learned through great winemaking and great vineyards is that really a balanced wine stays a balanced wine, and then an out of balance wine doesn't have to become a balanced wine. So there isn't this magic transformation. Sure, the wine changes, but I just love the fact that you can drink them young and you can drink them older now, because that wasn't always the case. I think we thought we had to have that much tannin. When we look at the winemaking techniques, when we look at barrel fermentation, when we look at really the complexities of these different vineyards, that to me is what's creating balance in these wines. And that's one reason why they taste better and why they continue to get better. So it's really the best of both worlds.
Love it. Love it. And real quick, Henrik, got a question here from Larry, one of our Era Elite members. Cheers to you, Larry. Hope you're well. Larry wants to know what vineyards are contribute to the Era 2017. As an Era Elite member, Larry gets all 8 of our single vineyard Cabernets from all over Napa Valley. And then with the Era, you take some of the best of those vineyards and put them together. And this 17 vintage also has a little bit of another variety, right?
Yeah, so I have to specifically look at my notes to pinpoint it today, but as always, the usual suspects. So there's quite a lot of To Kalon from Backstoffer into this. We have a couple of new vineyards coming on that we started sourcing from in 2017. We added a drop of those in there. Those are probably down the line going to be single vineyard Cabernet Sauvignons. The component that Barrett is referring to is actually a tiny bit of Malbec. Malbec is something that gives fruitiness to the wines, and it's one of we call them the 5 noble Bordeaux varietals. And for us, it gives fruitiness. It also gives a lot of color to the wine. So in 2017, we felt that the right blend actually contained a little bit of Malbec. So again, we don't do any recipe winemaking, as I call it. So there's no set things in stone here. any blend can change, and we often revise the blends multiple times throughout the blending process.
Love it. And just a kind of a quick follow-up question from Trevor here. Trevor asked if we do the era every year, if we do a vintage of era every year. Maybe are there some vintages where you determine that it doesn't meet the muster or it doesn't meet the aura of the era? The reality is we're in Napa Valley and we're getting incredible vintages every year. You know, it's not like champagne, Trevor. But Henrik, I mean, we do produce this wine every year, but to your point of kind of adding maybe some different varieties, and you don't have a set recipe on this wine every year. Typically it's going to be Cabernet Sauvignon, but you're going to switch it up and try to make the best wine possible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, there's no recipe on this wine. So production actually fluctuates quite a bit. We can have blessed vintages like the current sale of 2018, which is one of the best vintages of Napa ever. We were able, and we were lucky enough, fortunate, I should say, to be able to produce a tiny bit more era than in other vintages. But again, it boils down to what do we have on hand, and just like anything in a kitchen, winemaking can also go wrong. So there can be some barrels that simply one year doesn't meet the criteria that we're looking for, and those will be disclassified and not used in the blend. So I can't give you a straight answer on the production level, but we've been fortunate, I should say, to be able to produce or make the era since the first vintage of 2006.
But again, here's the problem with the era, if there is any problem at all. It doesn't last long. It sells out. I mean, 750s of any library vintages of this wine are just gone. So this is a wine you want to stock up on. And Robin, to your point, I mean, the 06 vintage, it's still alive and well. If you've got some of that in your cellar, looking at you, John Klein, I mean, the 06 era is still evolving and it's still a delicious wine. So another fantastic wine, a great wine to throw into this flight. Henrik, cheers to you and your team for making such a delicious wine. 2017 might seem young to a lot of people, but I mean, now's the time to drink the good wine, in my opinion, and this wine is absolutely delicious. Hope you all enjoyed this flagship wine. And this flight of wines in general, I mean, we've done these virtual tastings. We've done several of these over the last 4 months, and we keep putting together these incredible flights. The Reserve Rosé 2019, the Reserve Chardonnay, our Cabernet Sauvignon, and then our flagship, the Era. Bob, I mean, what do you think about this flight, the food pairings, the flight in general? I mean,
well, I want to talk a little bit, Barrett, about the pairing with this, because I was really inspired, because I've always felt that you match complexity in the dish with complexity in the wine. We got plenty of complexity in the wine here. So I kind of went crazy a little bit with the pizza. And we started with a marinara base, and then we had some mozzarella and some pecorino romano cheese, and we did some really kind of oregano flavored sausage. But then we put with roasted red peppers, and we went with mushrooms and olives. And it was really, to me, the tour de force though was a little bit of the grilled figs, because there's a little bit of kind of a fig character in this also. And to me, that's kind of what you find, again, just something within the wine that you maybe find in the food also. And it just, to me, it's a lot of food, but there's a lot happening in this wine. And I think these are the kind of wines, and tasting some wines now from the 90s and at 20, 25 years of age, this wine really has that kind of aging capability, because we're seeing that in the Napa Valley. And this is really the last box that we're checking. You know, we've made great wine, I think, now for a while, but the ageability becomes, I think, really the stage that you want to be on to compete with the great wines of the world, and we're doing that.
Love it, love it. Thank you, guys. Absolutely delicious. And I hope you all enjoyed this flight of wines, and to finish off with the Era, absolutely a pleasure. Robin and Michelle, you know, thank you so much for putting this together. Would you like to say a few words to our guests in closing of our virtual tasting today?
Well, we have a very special closing. The V Foundation had asked us to host this year the opening event on Thursday, and with singer-songwriter Andy Graham. Oh, you're over there. We're still learning the camera angles here. So Andy Grammer is going to join us here on Zoom and sing a beautiful song for us. We're so sorry we didn't get to host the opening event. We're just sorry that we are not all able to love and hug each other and care for each other, but we're still grateful that we have the ability and the opportunity to support the V Foundation for Cancer Research that has supported so many millions of people, families. It blows my mind how amazing this organization is. This organization also has all of the administration fees are underwrote. So all of the money that's raised for the V Foundation for Cancer Research, 100% of it goes to cancer research. Olya, I love you. And we've been in Italy several times at their place, and it'll be in the middle of the night. I'm a night owl, and I'll see her in her area office typing in Panzano. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm writing grants. And I said, but you're always writing grants. You need time to mentor students. You need time to be the scientist. And she goes, but I can do all of that. And I can use my night when everyone's asleep to write grants to get funds for cancer research. And so, Olya, I love you. Thank you so much for all that you give and all that you are. And every one of our people that are first responders, nurses, doctors, scientists, thank you so much for all that you do to save lives, and we're so grateful. And Andy Grammer has a really fun song for us, and we're going to switch over to Andy. Robin, you got anything to say?
Go.
Go Bees!
Hello, Andy Grammer here. Just want to start out with a shout out to Robin and Michelle Baggett. I look forward to seeing you in person. My story, I lost my mother about 11 years ago to breast cancer. So this cause hits really close to my heart. And I've worked with a lot of different people around raising money for breast cancer, and I sincerely have to say that the V Foundation is at the top of the list. They are a class act. So if you have the means, please, let's donate, let's come together, let's find a cure. I'm gonna sing a song about overcoming adversity and arriving at it, arriving at your goals. So as a group, let's do this thing. Let's end cancer, especially breast cancer. It's called Good to Be Alive. Whoa, yeah, yeah. See, I've been grinding so long, been trying this shit for years, and I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here, right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he keep bringing me rain, but I've been sending up prayers, something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. My dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Woo! Good, good, good. Good to be alive right about now. Good, good, good. Good to be alive right about now. Yo, hallelujah. Let that bassline move you. Say yeah. Yo, good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Yo, hallelujah. Let that bassline move you. Say yeah. Yo, good to be alive right about now. Woo-hoo. I love you all.
Right on, right on. That was awesome. Nice. Nice. Love it, love it. Thank you, Andy. And, you know, thank you all for joining us for this tasting. Robin's getting some more era. I mean, when it drinks that well, more is more.
It's good to be alive.
You know, we just really appreciate you all joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the experience. And again, we just want to remind you all, we're donating 25%.
Time out.
Wait, Theo.
Joe inspired me with the insurance policy.
Oh.
Let's go 50. It's easier to divide by 2.
You want to go 50?
Let's go 50.
Wow.
Yeah, easier.
Yes.
I couldn't divide by 20. That's too complicated.
25 is
I
tough.
need a calculator.
You want to go 50?
Yeah, divide by 2. So half the proceeds.
Wow.
Everything. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Joe. You inspired me. Insurance policy.
Insurance policy. I love it. That's amazing. That just came out of nowhere. 50% of our proceeds for our tasting, for everything you purchase in our tasting packages today, are going to go to V Foundation. You know what that means? That means you need to buy twice as much wine, right?
That was the thought.
So
now they can afford more.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might run out. You're sheltered in place. A lot of.
You need a lot of wine.
Exactly. Yeah. So hey, 50% off of our wines, and we'll 50% of the proceeds are going to go to the V Foundation. Time to stock up on the sellers right now, it looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow up with you all on an email. We're going to send you guys an email, and then we're going to reach out to you after the tasting and get you stocked up with some of our delicious wines from our tasting and any of our additional wines. If you're in our wine club or you're Air Elite members with us and you're familiar with our wines, sounds like it's time to stock up. 50% of the proceeds are going to be donated to the V Foundation. Unbelievable. We're going to follow up with an email. Thank you all for joining us. Again, it is a new era for cancer research right now. The V Foundation for partnering with us in this amazing tasting. You know, Robin and Michelle, what you all have done, what you two have done over the years in supporting the V Foundation. Got to give a cheers to you two. I mean, it all starts at the top. 2011 Vintner Grant honorees, and you continue to be philanthropists and to support such a great cause. Thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Henrik.
Yeah,
Thank
cheers to you
all of
guys.
our team, our
Chef
set design
Chef
team.
Nash,
Thank you,
cheers to
everyone.
Chef.
Thank
Chef,
you, Amanda. Thank you,
yeah,
Chef.
looks like we got some pizza
Thank
to
you,
eat
Chef.
back there.
Don't give up. Don't ever.
Hey, don't give up. Don't ever give up. And we're going to reach out to you. Thank you all for joining. We're going to continue to do these virtual tastings every month, so we hope we can catch you on one of our next virtual tastings. But again, it was a pleasure. In the spirit of Jimmy V, again, don't give up. Don't ever give up. And 50% of the proceeds to the V Foundation. Time to buy some wine, everyone. We hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you again. Everyone, cheers to you all for doing this. Really appreciate it. And everyone take care, be safe, and drink some really good wine. Buy really good wine, too.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Michelle,
dollars.
Robin.